Well, good morning, everybody. And Kimberly's here. Thursday's here. Yep. That's the way it is. Um, we were rallying on news of delaying tariffs yesterday and then took it almost all the way back last night. Golly, can't we catch a break in the market here? I mean, come on. I just got the, hey, I'm live on YouTube. Love it. Anyway, whew. Hanging out still at extreme fear. I think if we could crank this down below 10, just, freak everybody out sufficiently, we could go launching off. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. I was going to, I had this whole big thing. I was going to, talk about how there's risk if the tariffs, if the attitude around that tariff relief, it's kind of pointless now. The market already dropped. Golly. If you're not even sure what I'm talking about, let's go to a clean one here. One that we can jump up here, jump down, time frames. Look at that. That was overnight right there. All this overnight. We did this rally, potential 5-wave up, but all the way back down here. My gosh, man. Hey, got a new member. Alan, thanks for being a new member. Channel member. Look at that. I mean, I was going to talk about this morning, but it already happened. Already happened. Like, what do you know? I don't even know. I don't even know. So, channel members, Lieutenant Colonel Goose, good to see you as always. Dawn, Be Like Water. Diana, Sergio, Jason, Svenborn, Rex, Donald, Ted, Darren, Will, General Rush, good to see you, sir. Cliff, and that's a real general there, everybody. Just throwing that out there. Cliff, Dan, John, David, Alan, Mark, Stephen, Major John, good to see you too. Glad everybody's here. So, my goodness, where are we going? I mean, obviously that July high is an important level at this point. All right. If anybody has no idea what I'm talking about, we're talking about this level back here. That is an important level in the market for the S&P. If you're not familiar with the double ES1 exclamation point is, that's the S&P 500 futures. How do we know what the market's doing before it opens? We look at the futures. How do I know what the market's doing all the time? I look at the futures. Now, one thing I see right here. Look what we left right there. You see that right there? What if we need to go fill that gap? What if that's what we're doing? That's interesting, right? Get this right here. What if that's the actual bottom right there? Everybody see that? We don't usually leave gaps in the futures. These trade 23 hours a day, 6 days a week. When we make a gap, we usually fill it really quickly. Typically, the only gaps we really make are when on these contract rollovers. That was a contract rollover. We popped it up. I thought we were going to come back and fill it, but we never did. Maybe that's what we're about to do. Right there. Pull that up just a smidge. Let's pull it up to the top of the gap. That might be what we're about to do. Reach down, fill that gap. That could be 140 point down. We could do this big dip and rip thing. Seen it before. I mean, it's just, this is just me looking for things in the market. I happen to see that gap back there. You know, it's one of those things you only see on a clean chart. Sometimes you got to clean it all off, look at it. That's an interesting one, right? We don't typically leave gaps in the S&P 500 futures chart. I mean, this one over here filled up really quickly. We came up and took it right back. This one we've left hanging there for a number of months. And we made that back in September, so we've left it from October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months. Might be time to fill it. Let me know what you think in the chat. It seems plausible, especially with the way we're not able to get off the mat here. We're just stuck on this daily roadmap line. So all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. You may lose money doing this thing we do called trading. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. That means when I predict things, maybe they come true, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm full of crap. Maybe everybody on YouTube's full of crap. Maybe everybody that talks about the smart stock market's full of crap. I mean, some of us get it right sometimes. Jim Cramer yesterday tweeting about Palantir being back. And then somebody else replied, and somebody else I follow said, "Why did you do that?" It was the funniest thing. Anyway, I mean, some of us just get it completely wrong. You know, that's what that Jim Cramer came to mind when I said that. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. There's substantial risk of loss when you trade them. Be careful. And if you need somebody just to tell you what to do, hire and consult a financial advisor, which is not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not even pretending like I'm giving you financial advice. I mean, you can follow along if you want to, but you're probably, I mean, if you just blindly follow, you're probably going to lose money. That's kind of the way this works. So, yeah. Down today, down tomorrow? What? I don't know. Maybe we bottom today. You got to be careful. Got to be careful. This could last through Monday if we're down tomorrow, though. Friday, we get this stuff right here. Unemployment rate, non-farm employment change, average hour earnings. It's the non-farm jobs report thing, and then Fed Chair Powell speaking, and then look at that, our favorite volatility maker speaking at 1:30 tentatively. Dun, 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 dun. Favorite volatility maker. Hey, right after the inauguration, late January, what did I tell you? What did I tell you about this guy? Anybody remember? You remember what I said? Volatility is back. This guy, we have not been used to for 4 years. We've been not been used to a president that'll just get out there and say whatever. And guess what? This guy just gets out there and says whatever he wants to, and we get volatility. And if anybody doesn't understand what I'm talking about, volatility, that's volatility. Yesterday, we climbed 116 points. And then after that, we dropped 97 points overnight. That's volatility. That's volatility. I think so. Once we make this bottom, now we've been in this correction for a long time, way before Trump. All right, call it market foresight, call it whatever you want to. We've been in this correction. I've got lots of stuff drawn on this chart, but it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Just delete a lot of it here. Look where I commonly do this, right? take a candle, draw it across. That's how long we've been going sideways. And we did a little dip, we did a little pop, possibly do another dip. It's possible. We've been going sideways basically since June at this point. We're below the July high on NASDAQ. This chart, I think, illustrates it better than any other. That's a lot of sideways. If you feel frustrated in the market, this is why you feel frustrated in the market. We've been going nowhere. We've been going absolutely nowhere for months and months and months and months and months. I mean, at this point, that's 9 months almost. Almost 9 months of doing nothing. Anybody sick of it? I'm sick of it. I'm certainly sick of it. I think I warned everybody we would get a pop. No matter who won the election. I said this like last summer. Or maybe it's early fall. I said, no matter who wins the election, we're probably going to get a pop early in the year and a pullback. Anybody remember that? Came true. Didn't matter who won. Didn't matter who won. We haven't. Now, I think we're probably going to get another pop once we find the bottom here. Probably going to get another pop and then a bigger pullback. And that's what I think is going to happen. This could last out to the late summer. This is what I think right now, based on the charts, based on all the things I'm seeing. I think we're almost done here. It's a matter of splitting hairs. Seasonality says another 4 to 8 days, maybe 9 days, 4 to 9 days. Probably make a bottom sometime in the next 4 to 9 days. Seasonality wise, if anybody's missed the seasonality charts, check it out right here. Sometime in the next, mid-month, probably find that bottom. Sometime between now and the mid-month, probably find the bottom. So could happen today, could be early, could take 4 more days, could take 9 more days, 10 more days. Could push it out a little longer. It's possible. But then we're likely to kick it off. And same on NASDAQ. Like, it doesn't change. Like, this is still the same. And, right behind my monster can, of course. Push me over here. NASDAQ usually bottoms a little early. A little earlier. That's what I'm saying. 4 to 9 days. Seasonality-wise. It's kind of crazy to think the last 20 years, this is what the average March does, right? I mean, why is my phone? Come on, man. Come on. Anybody surprised? I mean, does this blow anybody's mind that we have a seasonality and the market plays out by seasonality sometimes? Messes with me sometimes. This is why I pay attention to these. That's exactly what we did. Exactly what we did. Right there. I mean, we've done nothing this year. Slightly negative on S&P. That's exactly what's happening. Seasonality-wise, the rest of the year, I'm not sure that's what's going to play out. It's possible. We've got 20 years of average that says that's probably, on the average, that's what we do the rest of the year. January, February, March tend to be kind of choppy, nasty, and then we get the gains for the year. Now, we look back at the last 6 months of the last year. It doesn't say we do a big dip and, so we're not exactly playing out seasonality. You look at the last 6 months on NASDAQ and, it's not really where we're, we've been flat since June, We're missing that. So we didn't add that on to the market there. Missing almost 8% upside. So it's not, seasonality is not all it's cracked up to be. And we look at, and we do tend to have a lot of sideways here. We usually get that rally at the end of the year. S&P kind of did the rally, but we took it all back over here. So still flat on this one too. We go look at that. So something to this stuff a little bit. A little bit. So there you go. Have to watch out for that gap we left back here. Left that gap. That's possibly what we're going to go fill before we can get out of here. I give this about a 60% odds that we're done with the downside yesterday. Still kind of leaning about that. Like these tails right here indicates that the market's appetite for downside, for buying these dips is getting bigger. Appetite for buying into the dips. Maybe we get one more flush out, go fill that gap. Maybe. I don't know. And the 5,600, that fits with the other levels I've been talking about for a while. I think it's the 3-day right there. I get mixed up on all. I start saying so many things. 3 days somewhere right here. Draw, please. Where'd you go? Oh, 3 days way on down. 3 days down there. And then the weekly is on down further. So yeah. Weekly's down here. Interesting. All right. Let's clean up a few things. Let me do a little fib analysis here really quickly. Let's see. Yeah, that would be right to the 50% retrace. Yeah, I don't even need to. Here's the thing I was going to do. That high, that low, that high. Yeah, 1618. So that might be the level right there. We may dip it right down there and turn it. Might, but there's always the possibility we go on, like if this doesn't hold right here, if this means nothing to the market, if it's like, don't care. That one's the one we're going for, more than likely. That's what to watch. We'll talk about the bias for the day and what the levels here toward the end. Just kind of, like I said, when I set up the show last night, I was like, yeah, we'll talk about the auto tariffs and the potential for the pullback. Come in this morning, and the pullback happened, so I'll be dang. It's sometimes the market does stupid stuff. So we want to see this hold a higher low at this point on NASDAQ. And you always got to try to connect up the most number of lows. Of course, trend lines, the weakest form of technical analysis. Don't really, read too much into it, but it's a warning sign if we start breaking below that uptrend of lows that we're probably going to go make a lower low. So that's something to, if you want to have an alert, put a trend line on there. You can set up an alarm right off the trend line on TradingView. An alert, let you know when the trend line is breaking. If that's your kind of bag, baby. Russell, I don't know. Like this Still finding a lot of resistance at this 15-minute roadmap line. Like this might be the tell here. If we get above the 15-minute on Russell, I mean, it rode that thing and then pulled back. We can get up through it. That might be the first indication. Come back test it. First indication we're going to have some relief rally in this big down. Oil, well, we almost got to 64. I don't think this one's done yet, quite honestly. I saw tons of headlines of oil has made a multi-year low, lowest low. Oh, come on now. We can all put our thing right there on that candle and tell that the low. Ooh, I missed the actual candle. The low is 63.64. We need to go lower than 63.64 to make the lowest low and wrap up this correction. So until we do that, I'm going to put alert right at 63. Let's do that 2 cents lower. If we can get below that, this big correction can be done, and then we could go higher potentially. But there's always the possibility that we flush it on down here. So, as I said before, there's resistance at the prior low, which is we're getting a little bounce here. But we're probably going to push down into there, maybe even get down to 60. And if 60 doesn't hold as support, we don't get a bounce right there. We don't, see a sudden reversal. Probably means we're coming on down to 50. All right, this whole thing, and maybe even 45, which would be the first move down, the retrace, and the final move down. And this final move down has been screwing around for a long time. Not very enthusiastic. So this is very much fourth wave-ish on whatever time frame. So, giant correction. And we've been correcting oil since back here. We spiked it in March of 22. Hey, Rungamer. Good to see you. Ted, Logan. Good to see everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Gold, chopping around. I was hoping we'd see a nice little pop today, but not so far. Not so far. Stuck on this resistance. Silver. That's potentially 5 waves up. This is interesting. I saw this yesterday. I was like, oh. That's potentially a 1 and a 2. Right in. Didn't quite make the perfect measured bounce, but we did hit the minimum. The blue zone here is the minimum that, that's the zone for a measured bounce. We hit the minimum that I would look for. An initial move up when you dive even deeper in here. This move up, potentially a 5 wave up. It's a little bitty baby move on the daily chart. Cool, thank you, Google. This little guy, potentially a 5 up with nice subwaves. If we, in fact, dip right back into this zone, right back down in here, somewhere in the blue zone there, between the 50 and 786. Most ideally, we would hit that 618 level right there. That could be another 1, 2. So that's a nested 1, 2, 1, 2. The bigger time frame, bigger picture. That can kick off a major. That's the kind of stuff that kick off the big rally I was looking for. Now I was cautious on the daily chart that we might get a big flush out, but this, when I start diving in here and looking at the subwaves here, starting to indicate we may see a big breakout on silver. Could take gold with it. So we're looking for about a 60-cent pullback on silver that could kick off a bigger rally here. Very interesting to me at this point. Which time frame do you watch? It really depends on what your goals are in life for trading. I tend to go up and down the time frames because there's no single time frame that tells the story. All right, they all work together to make the complete story. This right here is telling me the story that we might be about to break out on silver, even though there's the potential and the possibility that this breaks down. This is why we've got to watch it really closely here. This move down, this retrace that held at the 618. This is one of those like stacked, like you don't know if this is going to flush down here or if it dips right here, holds and turns and breaks back above that, we're probably going to rip. Big picture, I'm bullish on this, but I know there's a potential to get a deep retrace. In big picture, looking up here. Do I have a lot of exposure on silver right now? No, because I know that this breakdown potential exists right there. Just kind of like normal, like not leveraged, not nothing, just kind of riding. Bitcoin, what a rejection today. This right here, again, 1, 2, 1. We might get this sub correction here. Now it kind of lines up with silver almost exactly. This is what really starts messing with my mind. This did a little spike up, holding the 618, but we spiked the 76, potentially coming back down. This makes it a nested 1, 2, 1, 2 potential. You start looking back down in here. That low, that high. We could see this chop. Yeah, this is why it seems like choppiness, but we're actually nesting up potentially bullish patterns if we stay above that and turn back higher. Initial move up, retrace, held, went a little deep, but held that blue zone. Initial move up, retrace. We need that to finish that retrace. Everything kind of lining up for a potential giant explosive move. Hey, Chris, glad to hear you're coming next week. I can't wait to see you and Goose and all the others that are coming. I think General Rush is coming. Be fun and exciting. Fun and exciting. Have a good time. We're gonna dive into some of this stuff. Enjoy. Be good to meet you. You've been very excited to come and meet everybody. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Ethereum. Goodness gracious, man. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Okay. Glad you're excited. I'm glad. Digger, yeah, we bummed we don't get to see you, man. You were quite entertaining last time. I think Sledge is coming. He should be entertaining as always. So I do have an in-person event. For those of you that don't know, for my Termite Trading Lab group, my in-person VIP group, it is pricey to join that club, but we have an in-person meetup next week. I'll be doing Thursday, Friday. I'll be doing a 2-day in-person event. Thursday, Friday. I'll be doing this show live from the group will be in the room with me. So should be interesting and different. All right. Ethereum. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah, David, man. David A. I know you're super enthusiastic on Ethereum. And that's not a bullish chart. Can it resurrect it? Sure. But Gaten's going to be there. Yeah, for everybody, I'm kind of horrible at names and faces. Like, once I meet you and I kind of associate a name and stuff with you, like I get a lot better at it. But sometimes I'm really horrible at names and faces. I can remember like all these details about the stock market. Horrible at names and faces. I don't know why. Like, just just the skill I was born with, I guess. I don't know. So I do apologize to anybody if I don't call you out and say, hey, you know, but it's kind of my lot in life. Not, I get people confused. I get names flip flop between two people. You know, one of my good friends I've seen for years. We were at the scout meeting. I'm standing up front talking to everybody, and I was like, and Becky back there, and everybody's like, who's Becky? I was like, Becky, right there. I think Kimberly runs up to the front and says, babe, that's Betsy. It's just yeah, I don't know. Anyway, one of the scout moms. Been a friend for years and total wrong name. And now she calls me Derek. Anyway, I don't answer to Derek either. So don't, you know, if you call me that, I'll be like, I won't even pay attention. So NKD, we rallied up on the tariff news and then rejected off. If we hold the 618 here, opportunity to rally back up to the top right there. And I told you, man, David, be careful. Dollar. Dollar hanging out right at supports. If we're going to bounce on dollar, this is the place. Otherwise, we're probably going to come on down here for the dollar. It's kind of what we're looking at. And yeah, probably what we're looking at. All right, so I go pull everything moving $2 or more up, put it on the gainers list, $2 or more down, put it on the decliners list. We go hunting for opportunities here. Cracker Barrel. Honky bucket. The honky bucket. Anybody seen that Chris Rock skit? And he called the Cracker Barrel the honky bucket. And like, that's the most racist place I ever heard of, the Cracker Barrel. They ought to name it the honky bucket. I'm like totally quoting the joke wrong, but yeah. Burlington. That's a potential pullback for that rally up to 364. Vive. Looks pretty good. This big pullback here. Break above that 618. 267 on the upside. ZS. No, that's not right. ZS. Drop right there. So Z-scaler. Potential that was a measured bounce. If it is, the targets are going to be much... I mean, targets are probably here. If we can get the deeper retrace, I'd feel better about the upper end of the targets. So... Lending tree. Well, they got a bigger, deeper retrace. Some of the stuff hadn't shown up for a while. Breaking above that. Look at this. See that lower highs? I mean, higher lows, lower highs. Break above that right there. Probably setting this up for a rally 68 right there. Side effect of the market being down. People flooded into bonds. Bonds pushed the interest rates down. More mortgages are being written. Lending tree popping a little bit on that news. And they had earnings. Estimating they lost money. They actually made some money. So things are looking positive for Lending Tree. The Cracker Barrel. So rewind back to 23. We predicted that Cracker Barrel would drop to that level. Didn't go as quick as I thought it would. Took a little longer. We got there in September and pretty much the exact level. And I said, you know, that might be the bottom for Cracker Barrel. We rallied strongly and then retraced deeply. And this looks like somewhat of an impulsive move higher. This actually looks like it might be a sustainable. Now, it has that look, but this was pretty deep. Doesn't give you the all clear. That was pretty deep, but it held the measured balance proportions. Now, I didn't really watch this thing. Haven't really been paying attention. I probably should have loaded up back here last week, or maybe even earlier this week, I guess, when it plummeted out on Monday, Tuesday. I would feel a lot better if this got above the daily roadmap line, that we are potentially going to rally up here. Now, if it's just a bearish corrective rally, we'll probably stop in this 75 to 85 area right in here. Stop there and turn down if we're going to go lower low. But if we're going to be doing bullish stuff for the next few years, we'll probably come on up to this 100 level, 108 level, if not even higher up there. It's potential to get on, like if it's going to be really bullish, we'll go on up to 160. So this has a giant reversal potential on Cracker Barrel. And you zoom out and you be like, JT, you always talk about the lowest low. Well, the lowest low, we had lows way back here. So this is potentially a big picture correction that played out on Cracker Barrel. Why was that level so important? And why did we predict it? It had to do with the big correction here. See that? 1272. First move down, retrace. Next move down, we tagged it. Move up, retrace. This could be the bottom on Cracker Barrel. And we're talking about for a long time. Like this correction that happened in Cracker Barrel, that started like in 2018, 2019, wrapped up in 2024. So that's like a 6-year correction. So this next move could, man, we could go 5 times longer than that. It could be a 30-year expansion on Cracker Barrel. We could go to a ridiculous level, absolute ridiculous high levels. This could kick off a 30-year uptrend on Cracker Barrel. But it all starts with the reversal pattern. Like it's got to hold. It's got to do the things we're watching, waiting for it to do. So this kickoff potentially up into these bullish levels, if we get up here to these levels, it's a kind of a bullish confirmation that we made a bullish bottom, and this is going to be the bottom for a while on Cracker Barrel. So opportunity, if you're an aggressive buyer, you could buy here at 48. Your stop would be right down there around 38. So you're risking 10. And then you got to decide where you're going to get off. Like, are you going to ride it up here to 100? That's a double. Or are you going to ride it on up, So the double on shares, that's about a $50 upside, risk 10. That's like a 5-to-1 risk to reward. If you took that trade right there, it's like this. Reward right there. The risk potentially right around 38. I guess if we got all the way up to 108, it'd be a 7-to-1. If we get to just 100, about a 5.75 to 1. If you're wondering what this handy dandy tool is that I pulled up, it's the long position tool. I think it's right under, yeah, it's right there. Under the projections, you can do your risk to reward right there. Handy dandy tool. I don't show it all the time. I do this when I'm doing my own risk to reward trading on shares. It's right there. You can set the colors and all the fun stuff. If you're like, I don't like how dark green it is and all that. Yeah, cool. Just change the colors here. All right there. All right. Fun new tool, right? JT's full of them. UVIX. Let's go look at actual VIX. So this is looking like we need one little spike. So the way we've kind of ground up. Although Look. Look at that one right there. Ground up, ground up, ground up, and just gave it and just bled it back off. You know, usually we get a big spike and then give it right back. So usually we see a big spike and give it right back. The grind. We don't typically see that just grind. Usually the grind grinds up until a point and then we give it back. So this correction looking more like these grind corrections, not like a big volatility event correction. So we may be, like I said, we may be in for another 4 to 9 days of this before we give it back. TSDD. Tesla shorts. That might, there's potential for this to spike up to the daily roadmap line on this 2x leverage short Tesla. Now, leverage stuff doesn't always follow pattern, so that may not work out. VIXY, leverage VIX, VXX is a garbage ticker. Reverse split, be careful. This trends towards zero over the long term. Reverse split, reverse split. Why? Because of backwardation. All right, when you look at the VIX futures right here, when we're in heavy backwardation, which the front month is much cheaper than the current, this thing loses money like crazy. Now, VIX doesn't trend, right? If you've never thought about this, look at the last 30 years, 40 years, 30 years, yeah, 30 years. Where's the trend? There's no trend. That ramps up, ramps back down, ramps up, ramps back down, ramps up, ramps back down. It's kind of a cycle, right? If you look at that cycle right there, we had the ramp up. We're probably working on a ramp back down, and we had a little spike in here. And it's classic. We get intermediate spikes, so it's probably, just looking at the long-term trend here, we're probably trending toward making a low back over here on VIX before we get another big volatility event and a ramp and a spike. Just, you know, big high level. You see the pattern, right? Ching, 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 ching. You could probably even measure it with, compare that one to that one. Look at that. Compare that one to that one. Well, might bottom out sometime in 28. 27, 28. Patterns. Yeah. It's all about the market. BJ, they're building a BJ's here. I've never seen a BJ's. They're building one in Maryville, which is out where the airport is. Crazy pop. 117, maybe 125. See? Needs another retrace. PDD. That has potential. It's back to that 1-2-1-2. We can break out. Potential to run up to 180, 137, 140. Short term. Yeah, the prices are, I've heard they're higher than Costco or Sam's Club. Sam's Club and Costco compete a lot. Sam's Club was the first one here. Costco, we got a Costco about 10 years ago now. Maybe longer than that. Maybe it's been 12 years. We've had a Sam's Club since I was a little kid. And yeah. Anyway, I'll probably never go out there. It's like an hour, half-hour drive from my house. This is a dumpster fire. Reverse split. Stupid pop. Probably come back down to zero. Be careful on this. That's a dumpster fire right there. TCS. So this is two things. You know, this is leverage on technology with a reverse split. So it's like two things that are dangerous: dumpster fire and leverage. I would be very careful messing with this right there. This is bearish on technology, which is technology is like, I don't think technology is going away. So be careful on this. Short-term opportunities, but probably going down long-term. Apologize for my fellow local citizen that has no muffler. And potential for this to go on up. 170 to 200. TSLQ. 2x short on Tesla. Like I said, on TSDD. If this plays out, now leverage stuff doesn't always follow patterns, but if this plays out, we might see that hit the roadmap line. Came up shy last time over here. That was a big drop. Reverse split. I don't know. SARC, short ARC, and ARKK looks like it might drop. So this might actually play out right here. This will be short. I clicked on something. So this is a short ARC, so ARKK. If this doesn't turn around here, this might drop back down to the lows, at which point SARC would play out. So that's interesting. If you think ARC is going to drop, SARC might work out. CWeb. Ivan, be happy to see you too. And CWeb may play out to the upside right there, 66. I am long CWeb with shares. I have shares of this, and that is my target. What's the time frame? I have no time frame because it's shares. SOXS. 3x leverage short on, and that is a declining asset. Now, semiconductors having a rough time, and this may pop, but long term, this is coming back down to the bottom. Dumpster fire style. Yen is probably going to pop up here to 68, similar to CWeb. MVD. What? It can't be the right top. Yeah, it's going to be this one. 2x short on NVIDIA. Yeah, be careful playing that. ALGM. It's where sometimes the default ticker that TradingView picks up is the wrong ticker. ALGM, that's nasty. No bias there. MDB, guess what? Drop the mic. Holy. I don't even believe that. Guess where this might be going? If we don't save it, like if we don't save that level right there. Back to 100, 110 area, 112, somewhere in there. This is a bearish pattern, and that right there is what I expect to happen on Mongo. FNGA. 3x leverage. And this needs to turn. We need that one to turn. Potential upside around 740, but we need to make a bottom, and I don't know. ASML still kind of bearish on that one. I expect that uptrend of lows. If that uptrend of lows breaks, I expect this to make a low somewhere in the low 600s. And then we can be done with this giant correction on ASML. Now is not indicating we made a bottom. Now may come back down to the mid 700s, where this consolidation happened over here. KLAC and choppy. In the midst of a correction, that looks like 5 up, and the retrace I would expect to hold right where we are if we're going to launch off. Opportunity to add KLAC here for that potential pop to 950 if that's the kind of thing you're after. That's not, I mean, that'd be a tough one. You'd have to risk down, you have to risk 100 to potentially make 200. That's a little bit rough on the risk to reward for something so pricey. Marvell chips, well, didn't hold. Folding on down. Earnings popping out on that one. And we're down to the orange zone where I thought we might need to hold. If we do, so the blue zones, as I talked about earlier, blue zones, that's measured bounce area. This may come down in there, and then big upside potential from there. But we're not quite there yet. We need a little bit further down. Spotify, big retrace coming down to the roadmap line potentially. All right. I'm going to have to hit a few of these. Like there's over 100 tickers on here, and I'm not going to sit around and do all these. So let's hit some highlights, shall we? Let's go for app. Potentially going to find support at the roadmap line. Not far below us now. Race at the roadmap line. That might come on back down to the middle of that consolidation that we keep revisiting. PTIR is just leverage PLTR. Speaking of PLTR, with Kramer tweeting about that last night. PLTR is back, baby. Watch for this to plummet to the roadmap line. The curse of Jim Cramer. Be careful on that one. Let's see. Apple. Holding the roadmap really well. As long as we hold that roadmap line really well. Still upside potential. 266. Amazon. Sitting at the roadmap line. If we can turn it, we've got higher targets. Yeah, I've got lots of fib lines on here, bigger picture, but just the market roadmap bounce can take us up to 250. Microsoft. That would look best with that little spike down to finish this baby up right here. Get that downside target. Microsoft, Meta. Roadmap line. Not far away. So that's Mama. And then Nvidia. And that one still could drop back to that summer low in August. Be careful. That's a little bit of a coin flip right here. And let's see, we did Mama and we did in Alphabet, Google. There's potential for this to have bottomed. If we haven't bottomed there and we start breaking down below lows, we'll probably come back down to this level right here around 150 for Google. So watch out for that if we start breaking below those lows. It's looking like a lot of these Mag 7s have hit a reasonable support level. So that's Mama and NA, and Tesla is the last one. And we're holding on that point where if we get below this level, it starts pulling into question the bullishness of this setup. Sitting right on it. We really need to hold this spot where we're at on Tesla. Right there. We start getting below like 255. Not going to be, no bueno, as I say. So that's Mama Net. That's the Mag 7. Jumping on to Netflix. That still looks like it wants to come down to the roadmap line right there. Might have more downside on Netflix. So that kind of jumped around hit some highlights here. I don't think anything's made major. Airbnb I saw alert for. Back to the roadmap line. That might turn bullish and run out there. BA, I know lots of you have been watching. We're down below the roadmap line. That was potentially the first move up. The retrace coming in here. If we can hold that 618 zone. It's kind of funny. I put these targets on here, and if that holds, that sets up a much larger potential upside on Boeing. Right there. It's kind of funny. This thing is like, maybe I've got Boeing down. Like I got its number. Maybe. The next move, if we're going to be bullish, the next big resistance, and it could take a while because this took from November up through February. So December, January, February, that took 3 months. This little correction took about a month. We're not quite done. If we get down there though, this move could take 3 times longer, 3 to 5 times longer. So 1 month down. So 3 months to 3 to 5 months. So we're talking about whenever we bottom here, April, May, June, July, August, potentially could be longer than that though. September, October, anyway. Could be like out to December before we're up here. Could even take longer. Could take 3 times longer than this one. That one took 3 months. So this one could take 15 months. Huh. We'll see. That would be the next potential. And if it's going to get really bullish, go up to 300. But look at that. That's back to the highs right there. What the heck? JT, what are you talking about? Like that back to the highs we were at. Yeah, that's the way things go. Correction done. First move up, retrace. Potential to get continuation. Right up in there. For those of you holding BA, that's pretty sparky, right? MU just farting around in the resistance zone. And yeah. All right, bias for the day. Let's wrap it up, shall we? Let's go look at this. Jump back to the futures. Jump back down. Let's talk about it. If we can hold the uptrend of lows, 15-minute roadmap line has proven to be resistance. Now, if we get through the 15-minute roadmap line, what do you look at? The 30-minute. And that's, yesterday, that's the one that was the undoing. So 30-minute right there. It's coming down. Keep an eye on that one. ES1 exclamation point on TradingView, /ES on TOS, /ES on Tasty Trade, /ES on E-Trade. It's /ES for futures. If you're unfamiliar, that's most platforms look like that. On TradingView, it's ES1 exclamation point. Watch for that roadmap line, 30 minutes at this point, and watch for, and so we're watching for that right there and this right here. The zone is getting tighter. As we go forward here, it's going to either pop or flush. All right. Be careful out there. I'll see you again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. 9:15 tomorrow. Be back again. Going through what's moving for the day. Have a great day.